So how do we do fundamental analysis for cryptocurrencies? Now, for other financial products, it's pretty easy. There's models, there's books, you can go to school, take classes about how to do it, and there's a proven process that leads to investing well. Now, in cryptocurrencies, it's not the same thing, because a lot of these coins are not proven. They don't have revenue, or there's no precedent of saying how one works and how to value it. So you can't really have a model that's going to predict exactly a value in the same way as you do with stocks, right? With stocks, you can use a dividend discount model, do the present value of future dividends or future cash flows to see what the worth of a company is. You can do benchmarking, compare different ratios for different companies within the same sector to see which one is going to outperform the other. But can you really do that in cryptos? No, because they're not really generating anything right now. It's all about future expectations. It's like investing in tech companies that haven't proven anything yet, that we haven't seen any of the likes before, and that we don't even know what they're going to be doing in the future, and there's no present of another one that looked like them before. So it's very hard. But even with that, there are frameworks, there are ways of looking at projects and evaluating them that has proven successful in the past for us and for other companies that do invest in cryptos, but it is still something that's not as complete as for other financial markets. So when we're looking at cryptocurrencies, okay, these are the things that we look at that permit us to be confident in an investment. First thing we look at is the project. Okay, what is the project we're looking at? Second is the team. And there's no particular order, by the way. These are the 6 big points. The team. Then it's the roadmap and the white paper. So the white paper where they say everything, and the roadmap when they're getting what done, what's going to be completed at what time. The community, public interest and adoption. Okay. Then security, and also the potential earnings of this crypto. So this is really the things that we look at. Now, if one of these things are lacking, the whole project might not be worth it. Okay, depending on which aspect is lacking. So let's go one by one. First off, the project. Is the project appealing? Right? What is it? Is there need for this project? Do we need it, or is it just they're just doing it because it can be done? Is it useful? Is there a reason why we would need this app or this currency or whatever this project is in a decentralized way? Or could just a company be doing it? Because if a company is already doing something and then somebody wants to create a decentralized way of doing that same thing, well, is that solving something? Do we need that? Or does nobody care that it's decentralized? So is it solving a problem? And that's what it would mean. Is it solving something? Because it would solve something if we need it instead of having a company do that particular thing. Will people use it? How does the industry look for this type of project? Okay, so are there other people doing it? And if there are other projects, other coins doing the same project, how well are they performing, right? So who is the competition, basically? Is there a demo or an app you can use to test it out, right? A lot of these cryptos, you can test out the application or a demo or even an actual platform, right? Is the transaction speed fast enough for this coin's use? So depending on what this coin wants to be used for, if something wants to be used for microtransactions, does it take 20 minutes to send it? Then it's not good. So this is the first thing you look at, really, what is the project that I'm going to be investing in? What are they doing? Is it appealing? Do I think it's going to have value? And do people need it? Is it solving an issue? All of these things, the same way you would look at a company without going into the numbers, just by looking at the idea itself. Okay. Now, in this situation, you don't look at the number, but you look at the protocol to make sure it would work for that project. Second is the team. You want to know who the team is. Okay. So whenever I'm looking at a team, I actually go and I look at everybody's LinkedIn, I look at everybody's Twitters, I see what they've said in the past, I look at where they've worked in the past, everything, right? You want to see if they have past experience in the blockchain space. Example, you see a coin that the CEO or the person who started the coin, the person who started the coin has been in the blockchain space and in cryptocurrencies for a long time, has been a developer, has been doing this or that, then that's great. But I've already researched, I guess, coins where when I went on the founder's Twitter, I saw him post about basically cryptocurrencies in 2017 as if he found out about it for the first time ever, and then basically be saying something like, "I have a great idea for a crypto, looking for developers." Well, is that really somebody who is a great founder of a company, or somebody who just saw everything going up and was like, "Oh, I have an idea for a coin. Let me find somebody who can do it and start a coin"? These projects are going to fail 100%. You need somebody who's really in the industry and who has been working on an idea for a long time, not just somebody who happened to see crypto and be like, "Oh, I'm launching my coin." 100% this project would be failing. So you got to make sure that the team is strong. The size of the team, can they handle the project that they're doing? A lot of these projects require strong and huge teams, not just a few guys. The track record of the team, what have they done in the past? Have they brought projects to completion? Do they have qualified developers on the team that have worked on other projects? The laws towards cryptocurrencies in this, or where the founder is located. So I know somebody in Montreal that started his own coin, and within a few weeks after getting it funded, the regulators here came to him and have had him reimburse everybody and basically shut everything down. So it's not legal in every location. Is it legal there? Would they have some issues or not? Some coins, they would, back then in 2000, well, not back then, well, in 2017, basically some people hid their faces. When you looked at the team page, you would see people hiding their face and giving a pseudonym, basically. Never invest in a coin where a team doesn't show their faces. Now, they would say things into the effect that, "Oh, it's not legal where we are, so we don't want to show our identity." But forget it. There's too many scams to fall for that. If you don't see the team, don't invest. And now the last thing is how the team reacts to adverse events. So when something happens, that's not a good thing, right? How do they act? We've seen teams, act very poorly, and then the coin tumbling down. And we've seen teams acting very good to some bad events, and then because of that, the coin keeps going up, because we know that the team is going to be good in handling these situations, because these situations will always happen in the future. Want to look at the white paper and the roadmap. So for every coin that you invest in, you should read the white paper. The white paper is what they release when they launch the coin to explain what they are they want to do, what this coin is going to be doing. Talk about the team, talk about the coin distribution, how they raise capital, how the coin works, is there a utility, is there no utility, and then the roadmap, what they're going to achieve and when, right? So you want to make sure everything is planned out. You want to see in the white paper that if they already foresee potential issues and tell you how they are going to resolve these issues. It's important, because in some roadmaps, they pretend that there's no issues. That's not true, right? The timeline that they have, is it feasible? I've seen timelines that are extremely short and the teams are never able to get things completed. And when a roadmap is not followed, people lose confidence in the coin. If you say you're releasing something by 2019 and something by 2020, and 2019 it's not released, people don't trust that you're going to be able to do the rest, right? So you have to be able to do that. So is it feasible? Some other cryptos, like Tron, I've seen roadmaps that are 10 years long. So they don't even plan on getting anything done now. It's really a long roadmap. So you have to, make sure that this is something that you want to invest in, and that you can wait all this time for them to get to where they want to get. Is the timeline being respected? And again, you want to make sure that if they're saying they're releasing things at time, it is released on time, because you have to trust them somewhere, right? This is all you're getting, is if they're doing their work on time, at least that should be good. How active is the coin's GitHub activity? So some of these cryptocurrencies that have applications and other things are going to have the code on GitHub, which GitHub is a website, and we're going to look at that later, where you can see the code that they have. Now, every time they update the code, they commit new code, you can see that on their official GitHub. So if you have a project where they're working on an application and there was no GitHub activity in the last 6 months, well, something's wrong, right? But if you have something where there's a lot of activity, then that means they're working on it. Now, we're going to talk more about that later on, because it's not because there's a lot of activity that it's just that they're doing good. Sometimes it's just empty activity. But something to look at. Next, you want to look at the community, public interest, and adoption. So basically, does this coin have a community? Okay, and you can find that by going online. We're going to look at resources again very, very shortly in the next lecture. But is there a community? You can find that on Telegram, on Twitter, on Reddit, and we'll look at these sources later. But are there people supporting it, or what is the community like? Is everybody just talking about going to the moon? Basically, when are we skyrocketing? How much money we're gonna make? Or are they genuinely interested in the project and they're gonna be there for the project to support it when it drops in value to buy it? Or is it just people looking to pump and dump that coin, right? How many exchanges is it listed on? So can you buy it on Binance or Bittrex or Bitfinex, or is there no exchange that have it, because you want a coin that is basically on several exchanges? So basically there are people to support it and that can buy it when they want. But also, it's not a bad thing if it's not on all exchanges, because then when it gets listed on other exchanges, its price might go up because there is more demand for it. But you want to have it at least on a few exchanges. Is this coin backed by institutions and VCs? So again, is there strong backings for this coin? Who is backing it? Who trusts it? If you see big names in the crypto industry backing it, then you know that they have something. Do they have partners? So are people starting to work with them? And this is something that we see a lot of coins start doing, where they have a lot of partners, and that really helps them in several ways. Does someone control large supply of the coin? Right? You always want to make sure of that. If it's held by just a few people, then they have the potential to manipulate the price. So you want to watch out for that. The volume, how many people are buying it, is the volume increasing or not? Because you obviously want something that has increasing volume, because that means it shows more and more interest. People being more interested in it. Will more people use this coin in the future? So is there a reason for them to use this coin? So basically, is there going to be adoption for this coin? And why, right? Why would they use it? And what is the potential of growth in a way? So this is basically to see, what is the community like? Is it a strong community? You want something that has a strong community with strong interest and growing interest and growing and a high potential of adoption in the future. Okay. Then we're going to look at security. So how strong is the security of the blockchain being used? So is it a token that's using the ERC20 protocol? So it's on the Ethereum blockchain. That's pretty secure, right? Because it's a huge blockchain, huge miners, huge network. Or is it just its own blockchain that's very small and that could be attacked at one point? Is there a lot of centralization in basically either the miners or the holders? Because that could breach security. If the miners are just a few big miners, then they can control and do double spend or do other types of attacks. And again, attack vectors. So how robust are we to double spending problem, where people double spend a transaction, and again they basically create two chains at the same time. But like we've seen, you would have to have huge amount of processing power. So you'd have to be a huge miner compared to the network. If you're looking at Bitcoin, for example, nobody can really do the double spend attack because it's too big. So that problem cannot happen on that blockchain. mining pool attacks. If there's a lot of miners that are pulled together and they do an attack, are the miners too big for that system? Again, same thing. Distributed denial of service, so DDoS. That's like when a website gets attacked by receiving too many messages because an attacker wants to have them to deny the service. Was the same thing. So some currencies that have no fees, somebody might be spamming the network with transactions to block or deny the service for other users. So is that possible, or is there something that's in the protocol to make sure that this doesn't happen? If it's a smart contract, is it secure? There's smart contracts that had little pieces of bugs in them that were exploited in the past, and people lost huge amounts of money. And this is why a lot of coins or tokens, when they create smart contracts, they basically give out bounties to people to try and find any error and pay them so they can resolve any issues and not have any bugs in their code. So has that been done? Is it robust? Has it been on for a long time so that you're certain that there are no issues? Very important, right? The security. And then last but not least, the earnings. Now this is very hard because there is no real model where you can see how much money you could be making by owning a coin. But you can still look at it, and try to gauge how big or how small it is compared to other projects, to see how other people would be thinking about it as well, right? So what is your portion of the earnings or project? What are you getting? So basically, are there, when you get some coins, basically, are you getting a security that's part of this application or a platform, or are you just owning a currency in a way? Is the application generating funds and then paying out, currently coin holders, or do the people who use the application need to use that coin to use the application? So they would have to buy it, and because they would be buying it, the price of that coin would go up. And if so, how many coins are there? What is the starting supply? What's the maximum amount of coins? How much can this coin be diluted? So can they come out and say, okay, well, we're releasing another 100 million coins, or not? Or is there the max supply and that's being respected? What is the project earning growth? How big can this project be compared to other centralized entities? So you can basically guesstimate how much of a demand is there for something like this if a project is working. Why would somebody buy this coin? So is there a utility for it? Do people need to buy it to do something? Do people need to buy it to, I don't know, use CPU power on other people's computers, host a picture on the network? What is the utility of this coin, basically? And how will adoption affect the value of this coin? So the objective is always, if there's huge adoption for a coin and people start using it, well, will that lead to the price appreciation of my coin, or does that have no impact? Because what I would like is have, the price of my coin be attached to, the fact that if there is mass adoption to that coin, it should be, correlated to that. So this is really the framework that I use and most people in the industry use. And it's not only used to help us invest in specific coins, but it's also very helpful for us to, not invest in other coins. When we see a coin that has a very weak team, it doesn't matter what the project is. It doesn't matter all of the rest, right? If the team is weak, I don't care about the project, the roadmap, the security, it's probably not going to succeed, okay? Because there's too much competition. There's going to be another one that's going to be doing better. Again, if the team is good, but the security is weak, I don't want to invest in it. There's too much risk. If the project is shitty, but there's a very strong team, doesn't matter. So you want everything to be, as good as possible. And if you're looking at that, it's going to filter out a lot of these crappy coins, which we've said about 70% of them are really shitty and are scams. And it's going to leave you with the most robust ones. Then if you make good decisions on which projects you really like and you bet on the right ones, then there's potential for huge growth.